Entitled ex-wife. So I was military for 13.5 years. Married my high school girlfriend and we remained married 13 years. We had 3 kids together. At about the 6-year mark, she started giving up. Not cooking or cleaning, not watching the kids when I was at work. She didn't work until a few months before we split up. Yet, she would spend wildly. Often leaving me scrambling at month's end. She never learned how to drive. I taught her, and she had permits a few times, but either wouldn't study for the test or would claim it was too scary. For context, our last months when she started working, I would work from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., and then drop her off to work and pick her up at 11 p.m. This shifted to a 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. leading up to our split. Probably because that was the boyfriend's shift and they could hang out while everyone was gone. She was neglectful of the kids. I learned later just how bad. While I was gone, she wouldn't feed them meals. They lived on snacks. She wouldn't deal with any of their issues, she was too busy with her phone. Way after the custody agreement, I found a video my daughter had taken that captured my son asking for water. He was told to get it himself. He was too short, while his uncle mocked him. She had a habit of not joining us for dinner, and then ordering food for her later. At some point, after not sleeping in the same room for over a year and her failure to launch brother staying with us for a few months, we split. I told her I was taking the kids and implied neglect. She didn't argue. At this point, right before Thanksgiving, I was getting out of the military for an autoimmune disease that caused me constant pain. And still does. I remember telling the kids and having them be completely at ease with the situation. In discussing separation of assets and visitation, I was amicable. She was okay with our results. Her dad came to town to visit the kids right after she got her apartment. I paid between $300 and $600 just to have her gone. And I offered use of the house since 3 adults and 3 kids in a single bedroom was a bad idea. Meanwhile, I stayed at her unfurnished apartment. I came back to her and her family packing her stuff. As they took the last, they told me my toilets were busted. Not one of them, all of them. The first company I called tried, but couldn't clear it. The second informed me that the first company had tried to but probably ended up collapsing the pipes in the attempt. Baby wipes were the clog culprit. That was her dad. So I had to move in with my family for a few months until I could complete repairs and buy a new house. I was retired and had time for the kids. We had a good schedule. I met their stepmom, who they took to calling mom almost immediately. Now we are a blended family and the ex gets visits. Our oldest refuses to see her. The younger 2 don't really respect her, but like that she buys them stuff even if she doesn't pay enough attention to them.
Comment 1. Oh my, she sounds awful. Glad you are happier now.
Comment 2. I feel for you, brother. Sucks to have gotten married to someone that turned into a dependosaurus, and it sounds like your in-laws are just as petty and pathetic as she is. On the plus side, she doesn't get a chance to attach to your VA disability payments if you're getting them, assuming the autoimmune disease didn't really become active until you were active, so you'd be eligible for some level of disability. Obviously you want to be a good guy, and I get it, but this is a case of doing the right thing with people that are entitled and petty. So the former in-laws coming to town, hotel, Airbnb, or VRBO would be suggestions.
Comment 3. There are always stories of children hating their stepmoms and refusing to call them mom. Kind of shows how awful their actual mom was.
Comment 4. Great story, but where is the entitled part? Other than she spent too much. This is way more of a neglectful wife than an entitled wife. I'm glad you 2 split and I'm glad you got custody. Thank you for your service. But I just don't see the entitlement here. Someone answered.
Entitled to be that neglectful? Sounds like she spent too much of his hard-earned money whilst doing her own thing on the side. Seems entitled.